Hello, this is Dodie from Deliberate Aging. Welcome to my podcast. Today I'm excited to be joined by Susan Miller. Now, Susan's career has always been in the health and wellness. And when I first met her, she was a massage therapist and a Reiki practitioner. And since then, she's even branched out further to be a teacher of yoga, meditation, breathwork, and mindfulness. Susan, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. So let's start out by you telling us a little bit about yourself and including your current age, if you're comfortable telling us that.
Absolutely. I am 64 years old and I feel amazing, and I'm proud that I made it this far. I have been in the wellness field let's say the last 20 plus years. I had a massage therapy practice, and during those 20 years of doing that, I learned a lot about wellness and about taking care of yourself. Not that I always did it, but I learned a lot, different kinds of energy work, and just met such a variety of people. And what they complained of most was stress, a feeling of disconnection from themselves. And I feel like what I'm doing today is just a culmination of all of those different conversations and experiences I had while doing it. So yeah, and I'm so happy to be able to share whatever I can. And if it helps somebody, that's even better.
So the one reason I was very excited to have you here today is because you seem to be someone who isn't afraid of making some pretty major life changes late in life. So two that I'll ask you to bring up and talk about are, I believe you were recently remarried, and also you started your own company.
Yes, two things that take a lot of courage. I'm not sure in what order. Yeah, I did recently get remarried after being single for, I don't know, a very long time, 13 years, 15 years. And yeah, it took courage to be able to do that again, because it is work, and it is a labor. I like to call it a labor of love, because it is a labor of love. And then the second thing is I did start another company. I like to call it a calling, because I really wasn't I wasn't thinking about starting another business. I left the corporate world about a year ago. It'll be a year in August. And I was just kind of, letting myself drift a little bit, connect with myself. What do I really want to do with this part of my life? And it just kind of came to me. It was a calling. It came to me that I want to be able to produce something or do something that's a culmination of all the different work that I've done up to now. And I want to be able to help people connect with themselves, to find the light within themselves. And so it just came to me. And I've started businesses before, and I felt energized by it, rather than feel drained or tired thinking about how the different steps that I'd have to take. I was so excited by it. It took me 2 or 3 months to kind of do all of the administrative things, to come up with the idea, and to kind of see it manifest. So it has been, a great experience. And I guess some would say it takes, courage and being brave, but I didn't feel that way. I felt like it was just in there. It had to come out, and it was being driven by something else other than me.
Interesting. And so the company is called Steeped in Soul. And what do you
Yes.
actually do?
So the company is called Steeped in Soul, and we produce and create. I'm the creator of these tea boxes, and I'm calling it gifting with intention. I want these boxes to be gifts that people give to people to say, hey, I'm either supporting you, I see you, I hear you. So for instance, say somebody is going through a stressful period in their lives, and I see that they're going through stress, and I want to send them something or give them something to say, hey, I know that. I see that you're going through something, and here's a little something for you that you can use to have a moment of peace or calm or pause. So in the boxes are teas because I love the ritual of tea. I love tea, but I also love the ritual. When I think of tea, I think of sitting down and taking a breath. So there's teas in the box. There's 12 individual teas in most of the boxes. Some just have a couple because the portions are bigger. And then there is a candle, a scented candle to kind of go along. And then there is a stone, a crystal that also kind of goes along with the purpose of the box. And I created these steeped in soul note cards, note sets, where you have an affirmation, you have a ritual. I've included 3 different types of breath work, because if you want to explore more on your own, you can. And then there's breath work, and then there's what did I miss in that? I think and then meditations. I included a walking meditation and 2 other meditations. So you get this box with intention. I would like you to feel connected. I would like you to feel calm, or I want you to feel serenity. I want you to feel transformation, whatever it is. And that's it.
Okay, that's lovely. I love the idea. So, intention, you've mentioned that a lot, but
hmm
also I'm going to translate that to mindfulness as well. How do you incorporate those two aspects into your life to take care of you personally?
Well, these boxes are about self-care when you give them to somebody, and you can buy them for yourself too. But mindfulness for me starts when I wake up in the morning and I say this. It's a Hebrew prayer. It's modeh ani, but it just means thank you. Thank you for giving me my soul back today. And for me waking up. And that's kind of like the beginning of, I say it while I'm in bed, of me being mindful. And and then personally I do some breath work, nothing extensive. I don't spend hours and hours doing it. And I do a little meditation, but I try to, when I find myself drifting off into the worry and the anxiety, I pull back and I do something that incorporates my senses, because that brings us back to the present moment. And I'm very aware of it. And so I just try to do that several times a day, to be present, to be thankful. I think gratitude comes into it as well, to be grateful, right? I'm 64 years old. I have had cancer in my life. So I realize that it's not a given, right, each day. And I have to appreciate it.
Mm. So you mentioned you have cancer, and I have been scrolling your website or your Facebook page, excuse me, and noticed that you have some life coaching specifically for cancer patients. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. I created a program for mostly people who have finished their treatment. When you finish cancer treatment, whether it's just plain surgery or you've gone through radiation or chemo, it's that after that can be very worrisome, right? Because now I just wait and hopefully it all worked and hopefully I can regain my strength. So I created this cancer program, and it uses the same things. Um, it uses aspects of yoga, since I've done 500 hours of yoga training. So it uses aspects of yoga nidra, breathing affirmations, and coaching questions. Circling back to the life coaching, it's very important for people to be able to, I think, really ask themselves the questions, what do I want now? What do I want now that I've gone through this thing in my life? What do I want now? What's important to me? And it's just a nice life coaching experience.
Okay. So taking that a little bit deeper, I believe you have a chronic disease as a result of that cancer diagnosis.
I do.
And how do
I
you
do.
deal with that? And what would you advise anybody listening to do when they're faced with a chronic illness?
So I had kidney cancer, and the treatment for that was to remove my kidney. So I do have one kidney, but it gave me chronic kidney disease. And lucky for me, it's still in a moderate stage, but it's something I think about every day. And because I like to watch what I eat and what I drink, and it's just something I think about, and it keeps me, I think, grounded. Because again, I feel very, very lucky that this was 11 years ago, and that, hey, I'm still here and I feel good and I'm still living my life on purpose. But when you have a chronic disease, you can't really forget it, right? It's always there in your mind, like, oh, today's a good day, but oh, what happens to tomorrow? And I think the worrying about tomorrow is what really gets me in a hole, right? It gets me in a cycle. I start to worry, what happens to tomorrow? Oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? And the meditation and the gratitude and all these different things help me get me back on track. So if you are living with a chronic disease, there are tools and strategies you can use to ground yourself and to kind of live for today, right? Live in the moment, live in the present moment. Because when we're present, we feel okay. When we look behind or we look in front of us is when we start to get very stressed out and very nervous. I don't know what the future holds. Hopefully, holds lots of light.
Yeah, none of us know what the future holds. I agree with that. Yeah. So you mentioned nutrition. Tell us what you typically eat to stay feeling your best.
I'm not always good about this, so I don't want anybody to think that I'm an example of somebody that doesn't go off the rails. One thing I don't do is I do not drink. I haven't had a drink in 11 years. And that was really because I only have one kidney, and we know alcohol is just not good for your body in general, but certainly your liver and kidneys take a big hit. So I don't drink any alcohol. And honestly, I feel so much better not. I used to be a wine drinker, and I used to like to drink wine. Um, and I remember as I got older, I would drink some wine and then I would get sleepy, go to bed, but then I'd wake up in the middle of the night and with a headache, and the next day my body wouldn't feel good. So I have no problem that I gave that up, and it was one of the best things. I try to stay, I would say 85 to 90% of my diet is plant-based. But occasionally I will have something that isn't plant-based. So I don't like to call it anything except that I try to eat a plant-based diet. That also is good for my kidneys, because when you have chronic kidney disease, you have to monitor kind of your intake of protein. And it's easier for me to do when I'm having a more plant-based diet. I try to, drink water, tea. I do indulge in coffee in the morning because I still love my coffee.
Mhm.
And yeah, I feel like I just stay present with what I'm eating.
So it sounds like you're really paying attention to how what you're eating or what you're putting into your body is affecting it and how you feel afterwards.
Yes, because your body always tells you. If you're present in your body and you've connected to it, then your body always will tell you. It's just that we don't sometimes pay attention to it. But like if you get tired, really tired after you eat something, you have to say, okay, well, what did I eat? Maybe my body doesn't process that well. I am not a nutritionist. I don't have a specific diet I could say to I would never say this because it's not my area of expertise, that, oh, you should follow this, you should follow that. But I do think part of any kind of nutritional program is listening to your body. If you eat and you feel really energized and you feel good, then hey, maybe that's something that you should eat more of. I tend to digest vegetables eat plant-based food just much easier, So Yeah,
Yeah, that's very interesting because I do believe the same thing that there's no one diet that fits everyone. Everyone's different, everyone's unique, and you have to listen to
right.
your body. Yeah. So, how about exercise? What do you do for that?
Well, I have a dog named Roxy. Every morning she gets me up and she demands I take her out. So I do a lot of walking. I would say a lot of walking and then definitely stretching. I've done a lot of yoga, so I do a little bit of yoga in the morning. I'll do a little bit of weights. I want to say I go to the gym. I do have a gym membership, but I'm not as good going to the gym as I should be, as I want to be. I don't want to say should, as I want to be, but I do lift weights at home and I keep moving. I love to dance, so I'd say that's one of my favorite activities. So I dance alone in my bedroom. I put on some music and I dance and kind of get my heart rate up. And whenever I've done like I call it like hardcore exercise, I guess my body is just delicate in this way. I've injured myself, whether I've gotten tendinitis or I've, fractured, I've done this, both of my sesamoid bones in my feet from running. So I tend to do things that are gentle and that I feel good doing. But definitely move. I mean, the moving part is no option. Even if you're sitting on a chair and you're moving your arms or you're moving your feet, you definitely moving your body is essential, especially as you age.
Okay, so what else do you do to take care of yourself besides eating well and moving?
I would say alone time. I laugh when I say this because a lot of people will say for them it's being with people and connecting with people. And I guess this might be the genesis of the idea of the boxes, but it's being alone and connecting with myself.
Hmm.
Asking myself those coaching questions. What do you want in this moment? What do you want? What's important for you? Are you doing things that are bringing joy to your life, bringing light to your life? We live in a world that has a lot of darkness, and my purpose is to bring light into my world and to somebody else's world, whether it's just me saying good morning to somebody on the street with a smile, but I feel like that's my purpose. And so giving myself alone time just to sit in whatever I decide to do, read, pause, and really, I come back to the boxes, like have a cup of tea and light a candle and just close your eyes and envision something you want to happen. I'm very big into that, having that visualization or just sitting and doing some breathing. That to me is really important for me to leave time to do that.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I read a lot about how our bodies are adversely affected by the fact that we're always hustling to do more and more and more, whereas you're taking this alone time to intentionally pull back from that.
Exactly, is to pull back from that, reset, give your body a chance to rest. And again, if it's only 5 minutes in the day or 5 minutes twice a day, whatever you can do, there's no prescribed time. It's just, and it says to your body, right? It connects your mind and your body, and it says to your body, we're slowing down now. We're not going to work as hard. We're going to let everything just calm down, our energy calm down, and we're just going to breathe. And I really believe that, I really believe that really helps your body and your mind and your health. I mean, we can't hustle forever.
Yeah, totally agree. So now sleep is incredibly important to our health. So would you take that alone time and put it, like 1 hour before bedtime, or how do you handle your sleep routine?
My sleep routine, I really pretty much go to bed the same time every night, between like 9:30 and 10. And I get up pretty much the same time, even on the weekends, which is, between 5:30 and maybe 6:15. Again, the dog, she, she's my alarm clock. I have read where, it's important to like go to bed at the same time, even if it's on the weekend, and wake up at the same time. So I get a lot of sleep and my body really needs it. There are some people who don't need it, they need, so I never say to people, oh, you should be getting this, you should be getting that amount of sleep. It's really the sleep your body needs on a regular basis. 8 hours for me, that's a nice sweet spot. Between 8 and 9. I don't always get it, but that's a nice sweet spot for me. That's just my body.
Hmm.
So, yeah, but I take my sleep very seriously.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
take
I have always felt the same way. I always say to people, you do not want to talk to me if I haven't gotten my 8 to 9 hours of sleep.
And I tell you something, like I saw this meme, but it was so funny because there was truth to it. At 5 o'clock, it's a woman on the phone with her friend, and at 5 o'clock, or somebody's calling her and saying, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm getting ready for bed. I can't go out. I can't talk to you. I'm getting ready for bed at like 9 o'clock, right?" But the whole thing is the
Yeah.
getting ready process. So I will say I take a nice warm shower before I go to bed, because to me that like kind of cleanses everything from the day, energy and everything, and it kind of relaxes me. And then, I get into bed like an hour before I actually go to sleep, and maybe I'm reading, maybe I'm listening to a podcast, listening to some music, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, a lot of studies are now showing that that consistent type of boring behavior, we might call it, is
Yeah.
really actually very effective and healthy for our bodies. And I'm the same way as you. I pretty much stick to the same hours, whether it's a work day or it's the weekend. Yeah, so that's good stuff. Okay, so you mentioned your purpose is to bring light, but suppose I pose it this way. When you wake up every morning, what is it that makes you just jump out of bed with excitement and ready to face your day? What is that purpose for you?
I believe that my purpose is to connect with connect with people, and I do believe it is to bring light and to help people. That's always been a theme for me, is to help people feel better. And when I was working as a massage therapist, a yoga therapist, doing Reiki, all of it was to help people, and that's what really gets me going. I feel like that's my purpose. That's why I'm here. And yeah, I mean, it's been steady. It's manifested itself in different ways, but that's always been my purpose. And I get up in the morning and I feel positive, and most mornings, and when I don't, I change my thoughts to try to feel more positive. And I don't mean to say that as kind of like, we always have to walk around with a smile and happy and this, because that's not life. That's not reality. But I do try to see the light. I remind myself of the light. The light can get rid of some of the dark. And so I feel like I get up in the morning and it's my purpose.
Hmm, okay, that's lovely. I love it. Okay, so what do you do for fun?
Well, now I might sound boring. Well, I do live at the beach. So to me, I like to go down to the ocean. I'm not a sun sitter, so I don't sunbathe or anything, but I just like to walk on the beach, or just sit by the beach and look at the ocean and the waves. I find that to be fun. I find dancing to be fun. I love to dance. So whether I go and I take, I do some dance lessons, or I dance at home, that to me is fun. Being with my husband and just spending time together, right? I don't have anything, maybe what some would consider wild and adventurous to be fun. I don't have a lot of hobbies. Some people love golf or they love doing a hobby. I just like hanging, and yeah, I like walking, and I like being with friends.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
My
so
kids would say, "You're so boring, Mom."
my kids say that about me too. Okay, so you said your purpose is to help people. So for anyone listening out there, what would you say is your most important advice for them to live their best lives?
I would say figure out what it is you really want and do it. Again, I'm not suggesting you quit your job, do that. Find out what you really want, like what it is you want from your life, and then take the steps to do that. And to not, I think the biggest gift that, because this is called deliberate aging, right? I
Yep.
think the biggest gift of getting older is the freedom I feel to do that without any thought about what other people think about it. I spend so much time, worrying about what people think. But I'm at the stage now that I realize, wow, like, probably 2/3 of my life is already over. I don't care what people think. I only care what I think about what I'm doing, right? As long as I don't say hurt people or do that, but it is like, what is it that you really want from your life? And then take steps to do that, especially as you get older.
So, looking forward, what is on the horizon for you?
On the horizon for me is to continue building the company and creating items that I feel will to help people connect with themselves, to help people not feel so alone and lonely, to feel supported. I'm invested in building the company for that reason alone. I'm having a lot of fun doing it. I'm having a lot of fun, doing the aesthetic part of it, what the box looks like and the colors and this and that, but also just putting together items that I think will really be helpful to people. And so that's what I see on the horizon. I see becoming a grandmother on the horizon.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So it's very exciting, and that will be coming along in 2026. So I see that as super exciting. And I'm just over the moon about that.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's really
Thank
amazing.
you.
Nice,
Thank you.
nice life change.
Oh my
Um,
God, it's awesome.
yeah. So, how can anybody contact you? What's the best way?
So you can go on to my Shopify store, Steeped in Soul. So it's SteepedInSoul.com. And there's a contact page. That's probably one of the best ways to reach me. But you can also go on Instagram. I have an Instagram page. It's STEEPED_INSOUL. And you can go on my Facebook page, which is Steeped in Soul. And those are the best way to contact me.
Okay, I will make sure to put all of that information in the show
Yeah,
notes.
and also, I mean, you can email me too. It's steepedinsoul@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll provide all of those links.
Oh, great. That'll be super. And I'll put it in the show notes so anybody that wants to reach out to you can. And yeah, this was really great. I'm really excited about your new company because one of the markers of longevity that has been widely studied is loneliness and just feeling disconnected. It
Yes.
can shorten a person's life. So you are really hitting that concern with your company. And I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope that I am because I have felt it myself. Like I have gone through periods where I felt very disconnected and lonely. And so that's part of the reason that I have developed this company is to help people with that. And yeah, it is really good for longevity. And also, I think I've had to learn a lot of different things, kind of putting this together from the back end, the administrative part, the business part of it, and that also helps you keep you from aging your brain, learning new things. So
Yeah,
I would say that I love to learn new things.
that's great. Yeah, I really love that. And that's one of the reasons actually that I created this podcast because I'm not technologically savvy. So I've had to learn a lot about it, which is great. It's great for our brains, right?
Yes, excellent.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much. And I wish you all the best with Steeped in Soul.
Oh, thank you so much, Dodie. This is so much fun.
Thanks for listening. This is Dodie from Deliberate Aging. Until next time, be well, friends. This podcast is presented solely for informational and educational purposes only. Use of information from this podcast is at the user's own risk. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician or other qualified professional. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from use of this podcast.